Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today's issue of the Neepawa Banner and Press is for Friday, December 5th, 2025. And Santa delivers the spirit of Christmas to Neepawa. And spectators lined Mountain Avenue as brightly lit floats made their way through downtown during Neepawa's annual Parade of Lights on Saturday night, kicking off the community's festive season. And you can see Santa was there. I see him right there. And more things were happening. There was the Glorious Christmas Wish Sale. And the Glorious Christmas Wish Sale drew a large crowd throughout the day on November 29th as part of Neepawa's first Super Saturday. On the far left, an assortment of some of the items that were on sale. There's candles and fudge and knit toys. And a batch of eager customers select some of the baked goods from one of the many stalls at the event. I can see them right there with cookies. And people of all ages attended. Shown here is a portion of the crowd. And I was there, and there was a lot of people and a lot of vendors. So, BPCF marks 30 years of local giving by Joshua Jackson. And pictured are the recipients of the 2025 grants from the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation. And the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation, BPCF, is celebrating major milestone after making a positive impact around the Neepawa area for 30 years. Over the last 3 decades, the foundation has strengthened Neepawa and surrounding municipalities by funding over $3.4 million to local projects in health, education, recreation, culture, and community development. Many programs, improvements, and services that residents rely on exist because of grants made possible with the foundation's steady growth. Today, the foundation hosts events and fundraisers throughout the year to raise awareness and grow endowment funds, as well as host a yearly luncheon to celebrate and announce grant award winners. A brief history of the BPCF. The foundation was formed in 1993, after the Thomas Sell Foundation invited Manitoba communities to consider creating local foundations, offering to match donations with $1 for every 2 raised. Residents Susan Drayson and Marlene Sayataki rallied community support, leading to the formation of a working group in 1994. And by January 1995, the group had completed the incorporation and secured charitable status. The first BPCF board was initially led by President Dr. Greg Dunn, who helped establish the foundation's mission to enhance the quality of life in Neepawa and surrounding municipalities by building permanent endowment funds and supporting community initiatives. In 1995, the endowment fund grew from $28,292 to over $2.1 million by 2006. For Melissa Grindheim, Executive Director of the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation, 30 years is more than just a milestone to celebrate. It celebrates 3 decades of community-driven generosity, leadership, and long-term vision. This anniversary reflects how local donors, volunteers, and organizations have worked together in our region to build something lasting. Grindham noted that through the BPCF's permanent endowment model, charitable gifts received are invested and the interest earned each year is donated. Gifts that have been made years ago are still supporting projects today and will continue to do so over generations, she said. The enduring cycle of giving and the continued growth of the endowment fund makes this anniversary a celebration not just of the past, but of the promise of the future. The Foundation's anniversary also highlights the commitment of countless volunteers, from its founders to present-day board members, who have guided the Foundation's impact. The executive director said the Foundation is a reminder of what a community can achieve when people come together with a shared purpose. It's a celebration of the community itself, its generosity, resilience, and belief in investing in its own future. It honors the past, recognizes today's achievements, and inspires continued support to ensure the region remains vibrant and strong for the next 30 years and beyond, she said. As the BPCF looks to the future, Grindham noted that community foundations are becoming more than fund organizations and are emerging as community leaders, connectors, and catalysts for collaboration. She expects foundations to focus even more on long-term sustainability, social innovation, and partnerships across sectors. Technology will also play a role, helping engage younger donors and improve transparency. But at the heart of every foundation will remain the same principle that started the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation: local people working together to meet local needs, she said. The impact of the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation can be seen throughout the Neepawa area. Over $3.4 million in funding they have granted has helped upgrade hospital equipment, build recreational facilities, support local schools, enhance arts and culture programs, and provide opportunities for youth through clubs, camps, and leadership programs. These initiatives directly affect everyday life, ensuring safer health care, creating spaces for families to gather, supporting education, and fostering a sense of belonging, said Grindham. Many of the improvements residents now take for granted were made possible because the foundation was there to help when organizations needed support. For the executive director, some of her favorite moments on the job have come from seeing the joy and pride on the faces of grant recipients, watching local projects come to life, and witnessing first-time donors discover the power of giving. She also boasted that annual events such as the Giving Challenge have also been highlights showcasing the incredible generosity of the community. Perhaps most special moments are those quieter conversations with donors and families who choose to establish funds in memory of loved ones, helping them create a legacy that will continue to benefit the community for decades is deeply rewarding, she added. The work of the BPCF is not made possible without the community at large contributing. Grindham noted this region has a remarkable tradition of neighbors supporting neighbors. People here take pride in their community and understand the importance of investing in its future. Whether through volunteering, donating, or simply showing up to support local initiatives, residents consistently demonstrate a strong sense of responsibility for one another. That collective spirit is what allows a community foundation to thrive. The generosity seen across the area, often from individuals who never seek recognition, is what makes the Beautiful Plains region truly exceptional. The 30th anniversary of the foundation marks 3 decades of shared efforts and collective achievement. Reflecting the trust residents have placed in the foundation, it acknowledges the thousands of donors, volunteers, and community partners who have made its work possible. The success of the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation is entirely rooted in the people of the community. Every donation, large or small, has helped shape the community we enjoy today, said Grindham. As we look ahead, the foundation remains committed to honoring that trust, supporting local needs, and ensuring the Beautiful Plains region remains a vibrant, welcoming place for generations to come. I think I missed a page. I did miss a page. Right and Center by Ken Waddell. Disgraceful behavior continues. As anyone who knows me well or who has read some of my columns knows, I try to keep close track of political matters. There are good reasons for that. My parents like to stay informed about local, provincial, and national politics. My father came to Canada in 1913 and was a fan of Prime Minister Wilfrid Laurier, if for no other reason than the family benefited from Laurier's immigration policies. Both my parents followed politics, always voted as soon as they were old enough, and taught us the importance of being involved. My wife Christine and I have long been involved in politics, have run for office a few times. I have known about or been somewhat acquainted with every Manitoba premier since Douglas Campbell in the 1950s. I have been in the gallery many times at the Manitoba Legislature and have seen some good debates and momentous occasions. With all that background, it was very disturbing to hear about the vicious name-calling that took place last week in the Manitoba Legislature. I won't repeat what was said, but I abhor the attitudes, the slurs, and the sheer ignorance of the discourse. For me, it goes even a bit deeper than that. In 2006, the leadership of the PC Party of Manitoba became vacant when the then leader Stuart Murray lost a confidence vote at the PC Party annual general meeting. A leadership race was called. I entered that race and came in third out of 3 candidates. It was a great experience. Through that leadership process, I became more familiar with the House and its workings. I met with the winner of that race, Hugh McFadden, many times, and we talked about a wide range of topics and policies. After all those years of political involvement, it had become evident to me that even then the level of discourse and decorum in the legislature had badly deteriorated. I strongly suggested that he gather his members of the legislature, MLAs, together and set a new course of action, discourse, and decorum. I suggested that he not participate in the heckling and that he direct his MLAs to do the same. I predicted he would get a lot of attention, even adoration from the media, and greater respect from the voters. Even then, things were pretty bad in the House, a disgrace to the MLAs and an abuse of people in the gallery, and especially to the delegations of school children. McFadden didn't apparently take my advice. From that day forward, through the reign of now several premiers, the name-calling, cat-calling, and the general level of nastiness has accelerated. It's a mistake, a huge mistake for the legislature to carry on that way they have done for years now and with no relief in sight. No sensible Manitoban should say they like the situation. The problem is that although politicians may not realize it, most voters don't hold them in very high esteem. About 40% don't even vote, let alone think that politicians can be taken seriously. At all levels of politics in Canada, school board, municipal, provincial, and federal, it should be incumbent upon politicians to behave in a cordial and a respectful fashion. Added on to that is the amount of sad divisions that crop up in U.S. politics, and it's no wonder that people don't hold politicians in high esteem. I am not about to quit preaching, but it's getting disheartening to see the level of disrespect that comes out of politicians' mouths. The bottom line seems to be that the worse the politicians behave, the more sour and dismissive the voters and non-voters become. The less politicians are held accountable. Maybe that's the way they want it to be. With nobody caring and nobody paying attention, the politicians can do whatever they like without accountability. I hope I am wrong, but the evidence is building up that politicians render themselves irreverent and irrelevant with the result that they can do whatever they want. That's a sad prospect, isn't it? And the disclaimer that the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the views of the newspaper staff. And we move on to Home Buddies by Rita Friesen. Go make a difference. One of the going forth in hymns in the newer United Church Songbook encourages everyone to go and make a difference in their world. Go make a difference. You can make a difference. It's an upbeat, offbeat song to be sung with enthusiasm. Singing it with enthusiasm is much easier than making a difference with enthusiasm. It is easy to fall into the pattern of thinking that the something we do is big, splashy, and noteworthy. They certainly can be, but they don't have to be grandiose actions that make a difference. 2 of my recent projects have possibly been totally unnoticed by everyone but me, and that's okay. In late spring, I was distressed over the multiple of empty pop cans scattered down Railway Street, twisted tea cans to be exact. So, one day I grabbed a garbage bag as I left the house, and before I reached the stop sign a few blocks away, I had almost 50 empties off the sides of the street, out of sight and into the recycling bin at home. I had not started out with a large enough bag, so I stockpiled a few for my next trip out, and then I started spotting them on the grounds of the Yellowhead, down Hurl Road, beside the old highway, everywhere. But I did what I could, picking up after a prolific litterer. This fall, the plastic bags tumbling around the compost site have been annoying me to no end. And then one day, Go Make a Difference was our closing song at service. When Ari and I headed out for our Sunday afternoon walk, I decided to start making a difference where I could see a need. I started gathering up bags, big bags of old, of new, of rotted, and the whole plastic bags at the compost station. I chased them across the open field. I clambered through the ditch. I braved the tree line, and I tugged them out of the dirt in which they were half buried. And I felt darn proud of myself for making a difference in my world. I did wonder if there's still a juvenile offender program in our community, and if I could possibly get some assistance from the young offender. I do wonder why folks do not simply follow the instructions. There are bins provided for the bags. Oh, and I emptied other people's bags of leaves because leaving your leaves in the bag is not the way to do it. And I wondered every time I emptied one what there might be in there. I collected a whole bunch of perfectly intact bags and stashed them away for the next time I go out gathering. The whole concept of a dedicated space to drop off trees and branches, not pieces of furniture, leaves, and garden compost, not mattresses and light fixtures. It's a wonderful addition to the community, my community, your community. Perhaps not quite the spiritual intent of the songwriter when sending me forth, but it's a start. I challenge each of us to make a positive difference in our world. And perspectives. Really? Maybe Justin True wasn't such a bad drama teacher after all. Liberal Drama 101. Well, Stephen, we have to try to fool voters to believing that we are actually serious about backing an oil pipeline again. How do we do it? I know, right? How about instead of another cabinet shuffle, I'll just act offended and all and quit cabinet. People fell for this in the trickery and all the time, suckers. They just don't want to look after me, buddy. Oh, well. And Your Listening Ear by Dulcie Martin. Tiny nails, big reactions. Today, my daughter asked me to paint her nails. We went to the bathroom and chose all the beautiful colors, pink, purple, and blue. As I brought them out, my 3-year-old son excitedly came up to us and asked what we were doing. After I explained, he excitedly asked, "Mommy, can I paint my nails too?" I then paused. Why did I pause? In our society, we subscribe to gender norms. Gender norms are social expectations for how one of us of a particular gender should behave. We think things like blue is a boy's color, pink is a girl's color, or motorbikes are masculine, but bicycles with flowers on them are feminine. Certain gendered expectations attach themselves to children's bodies. For example, clothing, hair, accessories. These gender norms are reinforced by our reactions to our children as they try on different identities. As an example, a well-intentioned grandparent may say, "Boys don't do that," or "long hair is just for girls." What does this instill in our children and future adults that there is a code for how one should behave and dress depending on their gender? Gender norms are so rigid and deep within us that we may not even realize they are there. Even someone who is well trained on challenging gender norms, like me, can be subjected to them. Thus is the reason why I paused. As I started painting his nails all the colors, I saw complete joy in his face. Each little nail that I painted felt like a big affront to gender norms. I was solidly proud of myself. Then the time came to send him to daycare again. I paused. I have heard of so many stories of kids making fun of other boys about painted nails, parents expressing outrage at daycares painting their male children's nails, and even one story from a former student about a daycare only allowing boys to come with a single painted nail and the color had to be masculine. I had a genuine moment of fear. Would my son's daycare say anything? Would other parents say anything? Would family say anything? Fortunately, I'm one of the lucky ones, and nothing was said. In fact, in a photo posted online of my son, someone posted it how lovely his manicure was. Growth is possible, and this brings me hope for the future. Gender norms are socially constructed ideas. They are not inherent truths. Standards of what is considered masculine or feminine vary widely by culture, community, and generation. In some cultures, men wear jewelry and makeup. Gender rules are contingent, not universal. Kiddos explore their identity through creativity and trying on different identities. So if your son wants to wear a tutu to dance class, which mine did, let him. If he wants to have long hair and paint his nails, encourage that. What you are encouraging is exploration and fun, not something dangerous or deviant. What our kids need from us is acceptance and emotional safety. Consider, if you will, what messages our children absorb when harmless expressions are criticized. So, next time my son asks for his nails to be painted, there won't be a pause. Instead, I will ask him what shade of pink he would like and if he would like sparkles added to that. As he proudly shows off his nails, he doesn't even realize that he is challenging a social script that has been around for generations, and that is a big deal. And out of Helen's kitchen, she's got a couple of recipes for potlucks, because parties are so much more relaxing when food load is shared. Potlucks have been bringing people together for generations to enjoy fun, food, and fellowship. And these two recipes sound pretty good for your next gathering. Vegetable and apple casserole and cranberry orange coffee cake. And we have thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs down to whom it may concern. On Tuesday, December 2nd, there was fresh snowfall at the Neepawa post office. I watched two men with canes and one with crutches, unable to hold railing, trying to navigate the stairs. This is waiting for an accident to happen. From Lorraine McCurry of Neepawa. And another thumbs down. Well, spring came and went, as did summer and fall, now winter, and Mother Nature can now fill in on the lovely potholes on the streets. The list that the town provided in spring that was to be fixed must have been a Santa wish list, because maybe only 2 got fixed. Streets are getting worse all the time, and nothing is done. Really, Neepawa, you need to get something done on these issues. From Terry Bradley of Neepawa. And Neepawa and Area Palliative Care launched 2025 Memory Bulb fundraiser. This is a difficult time of the season for many, but is also that time of year when the Neepawa and Area Palliative Care program runs its annual fundraiser, where you can purchase a bulb in memory of a loved one that is passed for $5 or a donation of your choice. The bulbs are on the tree outside of the Philmart on Mountain Avenue, and donations can be made at a number of businesses throughout town. Harris Pharmacy, Super Thrifty Pharmacy, The Mill, Home Hardware, and The Banner, as well as the Neepawa Health Center. This has been the main fundraiser that the program runs since it began in 1998. The other main source of funds is from general donations. The money raised is used to furnish the family rooms at both the health center and the personal care home, as well as patient rooms at the health center. The family rooms are stocked with snacks, water, coffee, and tea for family use. We are currently working on raising money to add to the money received from the estate of David Cochran to furnish a palliative care family room in the new hospital. In addition to material purchases for the program, we provide the opportunity for continued education for volunteer sitters. This year, we were able to send 13 volunteers to the mini palliative care conference sponsored by the Prairie Mountain Health in Brandon, as well as 5 to the provincial palliative care conference in Winnipeg. And yes, we do have one paid position, the coordinator of volunteers, Mary Ellen Clark. She not only coordinates the volunteers who sit with the patient to give families a break, but works collaboratively with the medical staff at the facilities so that they can concentrate on looking after the patient while she can give support to the ones around the bed. She is the ears that listen, the shoulders that can cry on, the one that brings them a cup of tea or coffee. It is because of this position and the person in it that makes our program very unique and different from any other program within the region. So far in 2025, the program has supported 34 families. We need to send a huge thank you to the businesses that are collecting the monies, to Denis and the Neepawa Town Public Works Department for finding the tree, erecting it, and stringing the lights, to our volunteer sitters, to our Palliative Care Committee, 8 community members, a representative from the Ministerial Association, the coordinator of volunteers, and ad hoc members from the Health Center, Personal Care Home, and the Home Care Program. And of course, to all who donate to our cause. As the year comes to an end and you need a tax break, keep us in mind as well, and you can send a donation to Neepawa and Area Palliative Care, Box 1240, Neepawa, Manitoba, ROJ 1HO. Wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas and joyous New Year. From Judy Gabler, President, Neepawa and Area Palliative Care Committee. And the Titans toy and food drive, a success. And pictured, members of the Neepawa Titans delivered toys to the Neepawa thrift store on Tuesday, December 2nd. The toys were collected as part of the Titans' annual toy and food campaign. The donations were collected at Neepawa's home game on Friday, November 28th, and at Harris Pharmacy. And A Merrow Little Christmas comes to Neepawa, and pictured Donna Merrow, who will be performing in Neepawa on Friday, December 12th. And this is submitted by the Kaleidoscope Concert. Donna Merrow brings his soulful country music to the Kaleidoscope Concert Series on Friday, December 12th, 7:30 p.m. at Arts Forward. This promises to be a heartwarming concert, perfect for the holiday season, as this well-known Winnipeg performer, along with 2 other musicians, take to the stage. Don tells us that this concert will feature Donna Merrow songs, Santa songs, and Jesus songs. There will be something for everyone. He will hold you in a spell in his beautiful music and engaging storytelling. After nearly 2 decades in the music industry, Don is an award-winning singer-songwriter whose music evolves with every album he records. As a glass-half-full kind of guy, he makes music with a purpose, balancing fatherhood and family life with his artistic journey. His generous spirit and optimistic outlook shine through when he is on stage. This concert is just what you need for the festive season. Be sure to get your tickets early for this fantastic evening of music. Advance tickets are for adults and are available at Arts Forward or online at Eventbrite, as well as at the door. This event is made possible thanks to the generous sponsorship of the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op and the Manitoba Arts Council. And moving on to us. Needs in front and behind the camera. Neepawa Community Access Television hosts its annual general meeting by Owen Devereaux. It was another challenging year for one of Canada's last independent access channels, Neepawa Access Community Television, NACTV, held its annual general meeting on Monday, November 24th in the back room of the Neepawa Public Library. One of the primary topics examined the night was a look at the television station's financial report. For this past year, NACTV's total revenue came in at $241,084. Expenses, however, totaled $256,000, which meant NACTV had a loss for the year of $14,916. The reason for this overall loss, and due in part to a slightly smaller amount of royalties received from the Canadian Broadcasters' Rights Agency, CBRA. Each year, NACTV gets a royalty check from the CBRA for content the local station has created. This year's amount was $24,430, which is almost $6,703 less than they had received last year. As for the year-over-year loss, NACTV General Manager Ken Waddell clarified those numbers. He noted they are still waiting on some outstanding payments that have yet to arrive and therefore cannot be factored into the year-end figures. The largest of these is an extra $6,000 that is expected from the Canadian Journalism Collective. That money is distributed annually from Google to news organizations across the country. About halfway through the fiscal year, NACTV also had to reduce its employee numbers by 2 full-time positions. That decision dropped the salary and benefits expenses by just over $10,000. It's expected to drop that figures by much larger number this upcoming year, though it does put a strain on the remaining staff. LJI report. Rain Pryor and Leeway Cabrera offered an update on NACTV's participation in the Local Journalism Initiative, LJI. The LJI is a national program to support civic journalism in underserved communities across Canada. The funding is available to add in the hiring of journalists or payment of freelance reporters. In 2025, NACTV received $96,750 from LJI. Pryor informed the community herself and Leeway have been able to cover a wide variety of local events through the funding of the program, which translated to roughly 100 hours of new local content. As for the contract with the LGI program, due to some federal bureaucracy, there have been some delays in NACTV's ability to re-up for the full year. The local station has received several extensions to the previous contract as the feds try to figure it out. NACTV is currently covered until early 2026. Technical report. Jeremy Vogt, who was an employee of NACTV until earlier this year, but still serves as an on-call contractor and volunteer for the channel, provided a report on the technical outlook. Read by Rain Pryor, The report noted that an issue that will need to be looked after soon is the end of operation of Windows 10. The majority of NACTV computers are older and operate off of Windows 10. This year, however, Microsoft ceased providing updates for that software. This will create a need for new computers to be purchased in the future, as the old setup will not be able to edit materials for broadcast. A lack of physical space in the Neepawa Banner and Press building, as well as archive space on the computer servers, was also brought up as things that will need to be addressed. A bare-bones board of directors. Due to a variety of outside factors, the 2025-2026 NACTV Board of Directors is at its bare minimum to be viewed as a functioning board. Last year there were 8 members, including 1 member at large, but due to family commitments, illnesses, and relocation from the community, several of those members are unable to continue this year. This year's Board of Directors are Cathy McGrath, Ken Waddell, member at large, and Christine Belisle, who is letting her name stand for now to allow for the board to maintain its status. The minimum number of members for the board to be able to operate is 3. And local facilities benefit from Stride Credit Union. And pictured Arts Forward, the Yellowhead Development Society of Neepawa, Tiny Taters Childcare in Carberry, and Roxy Theatre in Neepawa were 4 recipients of the Stride Forward Fund. Stride Credit Union is giving a helping hand to local businesses during the holiday season with its Stride Forward Fund. The fund is an annual grant program designed to provide meaningful financial support to organizations and grassroots initiatives that drive social, environmental, and economic progress in the region Stride Credit Union serves. This week, the financial institution announced 13 recipients of this year's Stride Forward Fund. The press release notes that these organizations are creating real impact in rural Manitoba by strengthening community spaces, expanding childcare, improving accessibility, and more. Arts Forward received $25,000, which will support window replacements to improve energy efficiency and reduce the environmental impact of the building. The Yellowhead Development Society of Neepawa received $25,000 to assist in renovating the lower level of the curling rink, creating a safer, more accessible, and visually unified space. The funding will support new flooring throughout the viewing and change room area, as well as new seating to enhance comfort and accessibility for members and guests. $6,000 is headed to the Roxy Theatre to help replace an outdated fire alarm panel to meet upcoming safety regulations and ensure continued operation. Elsewhere in the region, Tiny Taters Childcare in Carberry is getting $15,000 to prepare for the opening of a much-needed daycare center for the community. Funding will support the purchase of outdoor play equipment. The Langruth Community Hall is receiving a boost to replace old flooring throughout the facility, creating a safer, more inviting space for all who use the hall, helping maintain the hall as a central gathering place for the community. The Plumas Pirates Ball Diamond is also receiving $9,700 to help purchase a specialized tool to help level and care for the shale infield, keeping the diamond in top shape. And counterfeit cash used at Neepawa business. The photo shown at the left from the Manitoba RCMP shows comparisons between a fake Canadian 100 bill and a real Canadian $100 bill. The public is asked to keep these comparisons in mind, as a counterfeit bill was recently used to purchase goods in Neepawa. For additional comparisons, please see the statement posted online by Manitoba RCMP, and also pictured a video still image of the person believed to have used the counterfeit bill. And this was submitted by the Manitoba RCMP. On November 19th, 2025, at approximately 11 a.m., Neepawa RCMP received a report that a counterfeit bill was used to purchase merchandise at a business on Mountain Avenue. Officers attended the scene and spoke with an employee who handed over the $100 bill that was used. After review, there were noticeable defects on the bill that indicated it was counterfeit. Officers are also investigating other locations in town where additional counterfeit bills may have been used. Police are looking to identify the person who used the counterfeit bill to gather more information and ask anyone who may know her identity to contact the Neepawa RCMP detachment at 204-476-7340. The Bank of Canada has important information for all businesses when dealing with suspicious money. If you suspect that you're being offered a counterfeit note, Assess the situation to ensure that you are not at risk. Then, do the following. Politely refuse the note and explain that you suspect that it may be counterfeit. Ask for another note and check it too. Advise the person to check the note with the local police. Inform your local police of a possible attempt to pass suspected counterfeit money. Be courteous. Remember that the person in possession of the bill could be an innocent victim who does not realize the note is suspicious. After a transaction, if you suspect that you've received a counterfeit note, give it to the local police. If it's real, you'll get it back. Either way, the police should be informed of a possible counterfeiting activity in your community. Timely reporting helps the police and prosecutors bring counterfeiters to justice. The Neepawa RCMP continues to investigate. And also, the Minnedosa RCMP respond to a fatal scooter collision. On November 25th, 2025, at 4 p.m., Minnedosa RCMP were notified about an injured male on 3rd Avenue Northwest in Minnedosa. Officers responded immediately and located an injured male laying on the road with an electric scooter nearby. Emergency medical services treated the 45-year-old male at the scene and then transported him to hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. The investigation determined the male was traveling down 3rd Street Northwest on the scooter when he lost control and collided with the roadway. He was not wearing a helmet. Minnedosa RCMP continued to investigate. And there's also some more information on the Stride Credit Union's donations. Some of the others, the North Norfolk Ag Society, High Bluff Community Center, the Junior Rifle Club, Get Together Club in McGregor, the Bernie Hall, North Norfolk Child Care Co-op, and I mentioned the Plumas Punts. They go all over Manitoba, where Stride Credit Union is, and make these donations. And Ride Inside MJHL fundraiser finds its rhythm in Neepawa. And pictured, Tara McCarty of Neepawa Rhythm Spin and Yoga Club helped to organize and operate the 2025 Ride Inside MJHL fundraiser. The charity challenge, which featured local supporters and members of the Neepawa Titans, the bottom picture, was able to raise over $4,000 for Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation. This is by Owen Devereaux. A large contingent of locals got into the spin of things last weekend, and it was all for a very noble cause. On Saturday, November 29th, Neepawa Rhythm Spin and Yoga Club hosted the local chapter of the Ride Inside MJHL fundraiser. The cycling challenge for charity is staged through a partnership between the Manitoba Junior Hockey League and MJHL and Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation. The effort, which involves all 13 MJHL clubs, raises funds for initiatives that support pediatric care patients. This year, Neepawa Rhythm paired with the Neepawa Titans to raise the money through a pair of events. The first was a stationary cycling display set up at the Yellowhead Center during the Titans' home game on Friday, November 28th. Supporters rode the bikes for the duration of the hockey game to raise cash for the cause. The second part of the fundraiser was held the next day at Neepawa Rhythm as Titans players and coaches, as well as a large number of local residents, participated in stationary cycling classes. A few of the Titans even hopped up on the main podium and helped teach the classes. Every cyclist that was involved donated $20 to secure their seat in a class. There were a grand total of 7 classes scheduled for the day, with every seat sold. That was able to raise almost $1,300. Combined that with the money from the Friday night, as well as other donations, the unofficial amount brought in surpassed $2,000. On Tuesday, December 2nd, Neepawa Titans head coach and general manager Ken Pearson had an update in regard to the number as well as amount brought in, as it was now actually over $4,000. Pearson said the efforts of Neepawa Rhythm made sure this was an incredible weekend. I think it was a great collaboration between Rhythm Spin and Yoga and the Neepawa Titans organization. We all have been touched in some way, shape, or form by cancer. And if we can even help a little bit like this past weekend, we will do it, added Pearson. Neepawa Rhythm Spin and Yoga Club co-owner Tara McCarty worked with the Titans coach and general manager Ken Pearson on the weekend efforts. McCarty said they were glad to lend their support and their space to the Titans and assist in organizing this important initiative. When I bought the Spin Club, events like this were kind of on the radar for me, noted McCarty. It's a Cancer Care Manitoba initiative with a focus on support of child care cancer. So when you can give something back to something like that, it's very special. 100% of the proceeds brought in is going directly to Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation. Way to go. And the Titans finding ways to win in dramatic fashion by Owen Devereaux. And pictured, the Neepawa Titans came back from 2-goal deficits in a pair of games last week. First wins over the Swan Valley Stampeders on Wednesday. The second was a 4-2 victory over Winnipeg Blues. That game also featured the return of Titans' third jerseys, above pictured. The last few wins at home for the Neepawa Titans have not been for the faint of heart. After falling behind by multiple goals against both Swan Valley Stampeders and the Winnipeg Blues, the Titans have staged late-game rallies to pick up a pair of victories. The first of these matchups on Wednesday, November 26, saw Swan Valley score twice in the opening period. Neepawa eventually replied late in the second, with Talon Wallace scoring for the home side. Then midway through the third, Keenan Scrupa put one away on the power play to make it a 2-2 score. Finally, in overtime, Logan Paquette collected a quick pass from Talon Lewis and sniped a shot over the Swans goaltender's stick side to earn Neepawa the win, 3-2. A few nights later, the Titans hosted the Winnipeg Blues and fell behind the same 2-0 score. This deficit was a little more dragged out, though, as Brady Green scored for Winnipeg early in the first, and Brennan Green added one more midway through the second. That had the Titans trailing 2-0 heading into the third period. For the final 20 minutes of regulation, Neepawa found the next level and simply outpaced and outplayed the competition. It all began with Grayson Slaney potting his first MJHL goal, 4-12 into the third, to cut the Winnipeg lead to 1. Barely a minute later, Talon Lewis scored his fourth of the year to tie things up at a 2-2. For the rest of the third, Neepawa just kept the pressure on the Blues and created several chances near the net. That tenacity played off in the form of a Keenan Scrupa one-timer off a Jack Clark pass coming from behind the net. Cooper Kasprick closed out the night with an empty net goal to provide Neepawa the 4-2 win on family night. After the Blues games, Titans head coach and general manager Ken Pearson noted that while they'd prefer not to win games in such dramatic fashion, it's good to see that the players have the confidence to battle back like they do when they find themselves in a tough situation. Trailing early isn't something we want to do, but we've talked about not being dejected when we get into these types of games. Just do your job. Focus on every shift out there. One play, one goal at a time. Whether you have the lead or are trailing, you work hard, said Pearson. The guys kept at it tonight, and Slaney scored his first of the year. That fired everyone up on the bench, and we just built off that. We're not going to give away any game. We're not going to give up on any game, and they've been rewarded for that. The weekend concluded for the Titans in Winnipeg against the Monarchs. Fortunately for Neepawa, this one was a little less dramatic, as the Titans cruised to a 7-2 decision on November 30th at the Hockey for All Center. Talon Wallace scored twice and added an assist, while Keenan Scrupa, Rowan Michalik, Cooper Kasprick, Weisgerber, and Talon Lewis each added a goal in the win. These three results improved Neepawa's record to a 12-11-0-1 and have them just a point out of second place in the MJHL's West Division. Neepawa's most recent home game was played on Wednesday, December 3rd, against the Portage Terriers. This game concluded just after the Banner and Press publication deadline. After another pair of weekend road games in Swan River and the Paw, the Titans returned to the Yellowhead Center for a showdown on Wednesday, December 10th, against the Winkler Flyers. Start time is set for 7:30 p.m. And the Neepawa Farmers win big over Melita. Results from around the Tiger Hills Hockey League by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Farmers' offensive prowess was on full display on Sunday, November 30th, as they picked up an impressive 9-5 win over the Melita Bisons. 8 separate players collected goals for the Farmers, with Jory Kalbaki scoring a pair in the victory. As well, Connor Braun had the most cumulative points for Neepawa on the night, with 4, 1 goal and 3 assists. Lucas Oliver, 2 goals, 2 assists, and Neil Mills, 1 goal, 3 assists. Meanwhile, led the way for Melita with 4-point nights of their own. The win was Neepawa's 5th of the season and has them in the mix with the top teams in the Tiger Hills Hockey League. The Farmers' next game will be on Saturday, December 6th in Carberry against the Plainsmen, 1-4-1 3 points. As for those Plainsmen, they earned their first win of the year, outpacing the Wawanesa Jets on Friday, November 28th, by the score of 6-4. Dalen Creasy and Zane McConnell scored 2 goals each, with Creasy collecting his pair in the second period. Trey Dixon and Jaden Johnson picked up the other pair for the Plainsmen to secure the win. Joel Barron faced 40 shots on goal for Carberry. Mendoza Bombers remain perfect. The Mendoza Bombers are the prime example of just how competitive the Tiger Hills Hockey League has been so far this season. The Bombers are a perfect 6-0-0 on the year, with an incredible plus 25 in goals so far. And what does a near flawless effort out on the ice get you? Apparently just tied for 3rd place overall, with a pair of teams nipping at your heels in the standings. But despite this logjam at the top of the standings, Mendoza is just keeping focus on what it can control, and that's worked out pretty well for them so far. The latest success was a 6-2 home win over the McGregor Wild on Saturday, November 29th. First-year Bomber forward Owen Riffle scored twice and added an assist, while 17-season vet Matt Saylor chimed in as well with a goal and an assist. Bryson Werbicki Mallet, Logan Robinson, and Braden Benertz also chipped in with goals for the home side. Mendoza find themselves tied with the Hartney Blues, 6-1-0, 12 points, for 3rd place in the league, and just 2 points behind Killarney, 7-0-0.14 points, and Rivers, 7-1-0.14 points in the overall standings. The Bombers' next 2 games will be very important as they play in Rivers on Friday, December 5th, and Hartney on December 12th. The next home game in Mendoza will be on Saturday, December 13th, versus the Sandy Bay Flying Feathermen. And Keenan Skrupa named an MJHL Star of the Week by the Banner staff. Keenan Skrupa's consistency for the Neepawa Titans has been recognized as he has been named a Manitoba Junior Hockey League Star of the Week. The 20-year-old Brandon forward has posted a goal and an assist in each of the last 3 contests played by the Titans. Skrupa scored the tying goal before assisting on the winner against the Swan Valley Stampeders and came up big once again versus the Winnipeg Blues, notching the game winner late in the 3rd. Skrupa and the Titans hold a 5-point lead on 3rd place in the MGEU West Division heading into December. This week's other MJHL stars included Winkler Flyers goaltender Leif Ekblad, who earned a pair of wins with a 0.5 goals against average and a 9.977 save percentage. As well, Cam Thomas, also from the Flyers, contributing 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists in 2 games for the surging Flyers, who have won 7 of their last 8 games. And keeping on with sports, NACI Tigers win their bracket at Victoria Inn Tournament by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Tigers have brought home some accolades from Western Manitoba's largest and most well-regarded high school hockey events. Last weekend, the Tigers traveled to Brandon and participated in the 2025 Victoria Inn High School Hockey Tournament. The event is hosted by Crocus Plains Regional Secondary School and has been running in the Wheat City for decades. Each year, it involves the top high schools from all across Manitoba and Northern Ontario, with this year and was no exception, as the tourney featured 23 teams in total. For the Tigers, they were slotted in against a pair of city teams in the form of the Steinbach Regional Sabres and the Dryden Eagles. NACI put in their best effort, but unfortunately couldn't overcome the advantages that Steinbach and Dryden have from drawing from their largest urban talent pool. Neepawa fell to Steinbach 5-1 and to Dryden 3-1 during the round robin. The 0-2 record slotted the Tigers into the C-tier Crocus Plains bracket for the playoff. In the quarterfinals, Neepawa matched up against the John Taylor Pipers, who are based in Winnipeg. In this game, Neepawa proved to be the better club, winning 5-2. In the semi-final, the Tigers faced the Red Lake, Ontario Rams and cruised to a 4-1 victory. After defeating a pair of unfamiliar foes, Neepawa would challenge a team they were all too familiar with in the form of the Dauphin Clippers. In this final, it was the NACI Tigers who prevailed, winning 5-2. As For who won the entire weekend, it was a club that Neepawa had previously faced and put a good effort in against, the Steinbach Regional Sabres. The Sabres, it appears, faced a tougher challenges against the Tigers than the team that beat in the final as they blanked the Sanford Sabres 5-0. NACI Tigers defeat Verdon Golden Bears. With their latest victory, the Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute, NACI Tigers, have firmly established themselves within the top tier of the Westman High School Hockey League. The Tigers did so by hitting the road to Verdon and doubling up the Golden Bears on Tuesday, November 25th, winning 6-3. Ian Foster scored twice, including the goal that would end up being the game winner. Benjamin Huli Oberholzer, Ethan Bray, as well as Kyson and Kane Lapointe also scored for the Tigers. Goaltender Harley Smith-Belisle faced 29 shots on his way to earning the victory. This was Neepawa's second win over Verdon, 6-4-0 this season, and third versus a team that currently reside above them in the league standings. The Tigers now have a record of 5-2-0 on the year and are only 4 points back of the league leaders, the Vincent Massey Vikings, 700.14 points. Neepawa's biggest challenge of the year so far will be against those same Vikings on Sunday, December 7th. The contest will be played at the Yellowhead Center and has a start time of 6:30 p.m. And a guest editorial by J.M. Bridgman. Who cares? The media have sicked their hounds on Prime Minister Carney for responding, "Who cares?" to an off-topic question that was followed by a "When did you last speak to President Trump?" Flippant and dismissive, they decried. "We want to know. You have to tell us. It's your job. You promised." Perhaps my problem is that I watch politics through a lit major's eyes. In this story, I see the media as single-minded, intrusive, distracted like the ancient mariner, badgering the PM as he attempts to walk by, insisting that he stop and listen, when all the passerby wants to do is get himself to that wedding. The question itself is demented, sourced from the albatross around their own necks, the dead bird whose onus they and the media want to shift from themselves onto the PM. Trump is the albatross, the not quite yet dead bird, whose stench warps every thought and taints every question. But the burden of it, weighing down every step for the PM tries to take, is holding us all back from the reception and wedding dance. If, like the PM, I had spent months in international meetings, trade negotiations, while crafting a first budget at home, and I was facing a scrum in a foreign nation after days of work, and the only question which makes the news is about the albatross, a bird who was not even present. I would say more, but who cares? Personally, I would say shut up about Trump, because I know it's a waste of our time and that other more important issues are not being covered because of the reek of the corpse around the media's own neck that the pack following the PM insists on carrying. Why do I empathize with the PM sloughing off the question? Because I have my own reading of the body language. I've read between the lines to the subtext, the unvoiced story about the albatross. I saw a hard-working team of negotiators coming to an acceptable proposal and having it dismissed out of hand by the bird. I say that dismissal is evidence that it's all our efforts to negotiate a fair deal as equals who mutually respect each other are fruitless. I see a bird interested only in coercive control of this relationship, one he chose to dominate. He neither respects us nor wishes us well. He loves to see us squirm. He turns an older story of Ontario's ill-advised ad featuring Ronald Reagan into a way to gaslight us, a gaslighting that says, "It's all your fault." He uses that as an excuse to dig in his heels and turn his back. His gaslighting is repeated, seemingly unquestioned, by the media pack, who refuse to let the dead bird go. What sane person, what self-respecting PM, would continue to pester an ex-partner, an old bird who revels in holding all the power? Whose flight changes with the wind? Who disgorges words like ungestible pellets? Who delights in devising new ways to hurt us and our friends? These are archetypes in the politics that are in our literature. The abusive partner is real. Coercive control is real. We have to be strong and resist the orbit of this bird's chaos. Walk on by, accept other invitations, ask others to dance. My defense of our PM will never extend to national politics, rights if he were to tolerate coercion from the federal or other provincial governments against those of us in British Columbia who prioritize human and Indigenous rights and the protection of the environment over resource extraction. Coercion is coercion, and one of the first clues is the denial of the constitutional rights of specific groups guaranteed in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It was wrong when railroad construction and settlement in the West were allowed to dominate, preventing the buffalo migration and destroy life as they had known it for the Indigenous peoples after 1867. When force was used against those who fight for their human and Indigenous rights, when leaders were arrested, charged, tried, imprisoned, and some executed for treason. It was wrong then, and it is still wrong, 140 years later. Have we learned nothing from past mistakes? I know people will argue that there would not be a Canada without the railroad. We have to do better, be more creative, come up with other more viable solutions than those borrowed from history and already outdated. J.M. Bridgman writes one lonely Substack contributor. Bridgman has Oak River and Gladstone connections. And the Gladstone Auction Report by Glenn Houston. The market gained what it lost last to make a strong market today. We sold 1,267 head on Tuesday, December 2nd. Here are some market highlights from our most recent sale. 10 black steers weighing 568 pounds bring $6.40 a pound, 3,638 a head. 11 black exotic steer calves come in the ring weighing 650 pounds and cash in at $5.72 a pound, or $37.16 per head. 9 red and black exotic calves weighing 795 pounds stamped their ticket at $4.82 a pound, or $38.31 a head. On the heifer side of things, 10 Charolais heifers weighing 524 pounds bring $6.39 per pound, $33.46 per head. Excuse me. 19 red exotic replacement style heifers weighing 695 pounds and fetch $5.68 per pound, or $37.73 per head. 10 Charolais heifers weighing 524 pounds bring $6.39 per pound, or $33.46 per head. 19 red exotic replacement style heifers weighing 695 pounds and fetch $5.68 per pound, or $37.73 per head. Plainer type cattle are still seeing some discounts. If your cattle are not weaned for at least 6 weeks, expect an aggressive discount. Calves coming straight off the cow to the sale are good to bring to town. As you can see, we had a powerful market on December 2nd in Happy Rock. Hopefully that gives you an idea of how the market shaped up. One final feeder sale of 2025 is next Tuesday, December 9th. Don't forget about our butcher and bred cow sale coming up on Friday, December 5th and December 12th. This has been Blaine Houston reporting for the Gladstone Auction Mart for the week of December 12th, and thank you for being a big part of our industry. And now we'll go back to Looking Back by Casper Wareham. Oh, it's hard to hold on to. 125 years ago, December 1900. A successful operation was performed on Master Charles Riley of Glendale last week by Doctors McCrae and Poole. The little boy had been suffering from tuberculosis of the neck and came into town for treatment. He is at present the guest of his grandfather, Mr. L.C. Jones, and is progressing well after the surgical treatment. Mrs. J. Whidden of Brookdale on Monday fell through a trap door in the floor to the cellar beneath, breaking several ribs. Mr. Reuben Andre of Huns Valley, Manitoba, has permanently located in Winnipeg, he having purchased the following businesses and has consolidated them all under his own management. On Portage Avenue, East, the McCreary Arms and Cycle Company, the Crescent Bicycle, Hislop Brothers, the Winnipeg Incandescent Gas Light Company, and the Incandescent Gas Company. 100 years ago, 1925, Riding Mountain, Jim Smith had the misfortune to have his arm badly sprained while cranking his car last week. A telephone message from Kelwood last evening at 8:30 stated that the consolidated school building was on fire with little hope of saving it. 75 years ago, 1950. No one was injured, but the possibilities last week were dynamite when a gigantic motor fuel truck tanker decided to go AWOL. The driver left it parked near the post office while he went in to attend to some business. When he returned, the big giant white with half a tank of fuel had plunged over a steep ditch north of the post office. There it was firmly wedged with its belly ground into the earth and its front wheels protruding in the air. Funeral service for Robert Burns, 65, well-known Osprey District farmer who died November 29th, was held in Knox Presbyterian Church here on December 2nd. Mr. Burns was born on his father's farm in Osprey District on May 2nd, 1885. He attended Osprey School and resided in the district until his death. Mr. Burns took a keen interest in community affairs. He served as trustee of the Osprey School Board for a number of years. He married Florence Helen Cruikshank of Neepawa, June 15, 1917. Wellwood, funeral service for James Morrison, who passed away at Deer Lodge Hospital in Winnipeg, was held from Presbyterian Church, Wellwood, on November 17th. Mr. Morrison was born in Newton, Drumlochie, Aberdeenshire, Scotland, August 18, 1878, coming to Canada in 1906. 50 years ago, 1975, Touchwood Workshop hosts its sale at Co-op and pictured the Touchwood Park Workshop was ready to offer some of the items they have made throughout the 1970 year for sale at a special table set up in the second level of the Neepawa store of the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op in early December. The items were handled by the Lionels, with proceeds going to the workshop. Seen here is Helen Harris watching a young customer as she tries out some of the merchandise. Neepawa postal workers, despite remaining off their jobs until a media announcement announced that a settlement had reached in the dispute between the post office and the CUPW, were not allowed to vote on the proposed contract because they returned to work Sunday, a day early in the eyes of the union. The 37th annual Neepawa Men's Bonspiel wrapped up Sunday, with Minnedosa's Keith Cameron walking away with top honors in the co-op event and the grand aggregate title as well. The family of Mr. and Mrs. William Johnson held their 50th wedding anniversary at the Yellowhead Center in Neepawa with a come-and-go tea in the afternoon from 2 to 5 p.m. Kelwood, Mr. and Mrs. Louis Harris were pleasantly surprised on Sunday afternoon when friends called to extend their best wishes on the occasion of their 35th wedding anniversary. Glenella, belated congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Brian Thompson of Plumas, proud parents of their firstborn, a daughter, Sandy Christine, Saturday, November 15th in Neepawa Hospital. 20 years ago, 2005, the Assiniboine Regional Health Authority will be unveiling architectural plans for a new personal care home in Neepawa this Wednesday. The federal election may jeopardize Neepawa's bid for infrastructure funding. Police have charged a former employee of the Glenella branch of Beautiful Plains Credit Union with theft over $5,000 and false pretenses with intent to defraud over $5,000. The alleged offenses took place between January 1999 and December 2004. A conditional use hearing will be held in the RM of Rosedale office December 9th. Gerald Massey wants the zoning bylaw amended, allowing him to establish an aquaculture training and development center for fish and vegetables in the former Kelwood High School. Currently zoned general development, it will have to be amended to industrial use. Arden. Lane Collins of Arden was Manitoba's only winner in the Canadian Western Agribition and Canadian Cowboys Association Championship finals in Regina. Collins, 15, won the junior steer riding event, and he did it in great style, dominated the field with 3 good rides. And finally, NACTV. Here's some of the highlights in the week. Glorious Christmas Wish Sale, December 9th at 10:30 a.m., December 11th at 6:30 p.m., and December 14th at 8:15 p.m. Pathway to Home Ownership, working with the town of Neepawa, December 8th at 9 p.m., December 10th at 12:30 p.m., and December 13th at 1 p.m. And academic preparation for healthcare programs, December 8th at 12 p.m., December 10th at 8:15 p.m., and December 14th at 8:45 p.m. And don't forget our bingo live every Wednesday at 7 p.m., and the Bonanza is over 23,000, Blackout over 13,000, and the Toonie Pot over 1,000. And as you heard earlier, we're looking for volunteers, so if you are least bit interested in learning how to film, learning about computers, editing, or even reading the news, let us know. And that concludes the reading of the Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, December 5th, 2025. Thank you for listening.